Kuroki Gensai and Ohma training together. Probably one of the biggest things to ever happen in Kengan Omega, I'm not gonna lie. With this also being the first time these two have interacted in all of Kengan Omega so far. Over 200 chapters, with a lot of things actually connecting these two outside of the final clash back in Kengan Ashura's Annihilation Tournament, with Kuroki defeating Ohma, which at the time led to Ohma's death. Apart from that, long ago, Ohma's master Nico actually approached Kuroki asking for his help, something that to this day hasn't fully been revealed. I'm hoping next week we get a full chapter of just Ohma and Kuroki talking, alongside of course their training together, which is going to be hugely beneficial for Ohma. Just take a quick look at what Kuroki was able to do with the likes of someone who could be viewed as fodder, or perhaps the weakest fighter in the Annihilation Tournament, now winning the Berserker Ball and being capable of keeping up with some of the strongest characters in the Kengan Association now. With there also being many things Kuroki can also improve on and learn from Ohma, with his mastery of the Nico style, the Kure techniques, and of course what Shen brought up in his fight against the Bearded God, that he's only reached pre-initiative, meaning there's an evolution of that ability far beyond that, which may be connected to the stuff revealed in this chapter I'll go over soon, or perhaps even Ohma's genetics when it comes to him being a clone of a version of the connector. Which leads into why he's actually training with Kuroki. In the previous chapter, we had Shen critique and improve Ohma's technique, resulting in a very huge improvement when it comes to his power. In this chapter, we have Shen claim to Ohma, when it comes to human limitations, particularly when it comes to strength, speed, all that type of stuff, Ohma has reached the peak and can't really improve by a significant margin that would increase his overall strength in that regard. The only thing he can do is his mastery of techniques, the perfection of techniques, which Shen has due to the passing down of memories, which resulted in his principles. The connection of all that just got made incredibly clear, with Shen also stating to Ohma, "Your physical specs can't be that much different from mine. It's technique that will spell the difference in our fight." Man just called out Ohma, meaning it looks like Ohma is the one to fight Shen Wulong in the up and coming Worm vs Kengan Association match to decide whether they get membership. Hugely important. Looks like Shen wants to fight Ohma, and of course Ohma wants to fight Shen, gonna do everything he can to defeat him, and that's why he's training with Kuroki. Probably the strongest person Ohma has access to, and the character who recently in the manga was able to do damage to Shen and perform the best in their clash than really any other fighter by a pretty large margin. But the key takeaways here to remember in the future of the story is that technique is pretty much everything at this point. Wulong's mastery of technique, his understanding of everything, is so far beyond any other character. He's pretty much unstoppable compared to them. Not his physical stats, which I'm gonna note is a little weird if you look at the Guy Mukaku fight and how Shen nerfed himself in every way to be down to Mukaku's level. You could say when it comes to raw strength, especially considering what Ohma said about Mukaku, Ohma should be, I guess, inferior to him in physical specs, and now we have Shen claiming that their specs are close to one another, but Shen in the Mukaku fight had to nerf himself in every regard. Of course, that entire fight was also used to prove Shen's superiority when it comes to technique, and how technique is everything, but still it's a little wacky considering his nerfing of physical stats as well. Also in the previous chapter, we had Shen revealed that he kinda wants to train Koga. It doesn't look like we're going to be getting anything like that soon, which I'm personally grateful for, with Shen's perspective on how Koga can improve, just being working out, alongside also getting better at techniques, but his base isn't really there right now, with him still needing to improve by a large margin. And then with Kuroki, the only thing he really says is to pay a visit to Guy Mukaku's home, which is revealed at the end of the chapter to have the Dragon Tribe technique or secret technique book that Kuroki is now most likely going to master and give him a pretty huge buff. Nothing that will be able to deal with the likes of Shen, as clearly shown in his fight against Mukaku, but something that will definitely improve Roki's abilities and make him more deadly than ever before, as the few techniques we did get to see of the Long Clan were actually quite monstrous, so I'm excited to see him learning those and perhaps using them on some other characters in various Kengan matches we get in the future of the story. Apart from all that, the Kengan Association are now more wary of Luhan, with his goal being, I guess, against the Connector, and that whole aspect, with the Worm not really being a united force, different factions with some being opposed to one another, namely Luhan and his goal against Wulong, which I still believe isn't going to turn out too well for Luhan, considering Wulong already knows what he wants to do, but he did build up Luhan quite a bit in the previous chapter as I broke down in this video. And the other thing we got that's very important as well in regards to Shen Wulong is Ohma and Kuroki pretty much agreeing that the Connector doesn't seem like a bad guy, and that when it comes to him wanting Kuroki and Ohma, they're more so options out of many, meaning there could be more clones for all we know, and there could be another Shen Wulong, which was pointed out by Gaimikaku alongside the reveal that Ohma isn't a clone of him, that there must be two of them, meaning two Wulongs, something that will definitely play a part in the future story, alongside how perhaps Wulong just wants an equal and how he's gotten too strong. Once again, coming back to the whole boredom thing, characters getting too strong where they have no one else to really face, getting depressed. Ohma said a similar thing about Kuroki and Carlos during the Purgatory tournament, characters who get too strong in their field of fighting, where they get depressed and need to do something different. Shen Wulong is probably this standard at the highest level, but his existence has made all these characters wanting to get stronger, as Ohma is now training with Kuroki himself. After all this time being focused on Koga more so, he's now focusing on self, which will naturally result in a huge buff. Kuroki has seen the power of Shen Wulong and will most likely be in overdrive to improve himself, with these two most likely getting an insane increase during their training together. Hopefully we see more of it, alongside many more reveals in regards to Ohma's master and pretty much all the other crazy stuff these two could actually talk about being together. Something that has been made incredibly clear now with the previous chapter is that Shen Wulong has now allowed pretty much every character in the Kengan Association to get stronger and stronger, meaning the entire Kengan universe is about to get a pretty significant amp in power, especially if Ohma is able to improve to such a degree he's able to fight Shen Wulong and be on his level. Prior to this, that whole aspect kinda seemed impossible. I'm not gonna lie, it still does for the most part. Shen Wulong still should be untouchable, even if Ohma is this Giga Prodigy and has the same genetics as Shen Wulong. It's still kinda weird as he doesn't technically have the memories, unless he does, as I talked about in the previous video, but that wouldn't really mean all the other characters would be able to get that improvement to the same degree. We also have the Tiger Nuka in the background doing his wild things, probably going to betray Luhan, probably going to play a part in what's going on when Shen Wulong is fighting Ohma, if that is the official match. But that was a pretty solid Kengan chapter. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Shout out to these mad lads. Follow the Twitter. That's it guys. Peace.